Yeah, I'm a fan. I mean, look, we were just, for those of you who are just now joining us, maybe for the overdrive, we were just sitting here discussing some of the topics of the day, okay? And the topic came up about music, okay? I like music. I like all kinds of music. Maybe not a big fan of rap and R&B and all that, but I'm just not a fan. But I do like rock music. I like country music. I like classic country music. Hell, I listen to classical music from time to time, right? So anyway, one of our producers, Michael Morrow, has asked that he asked me what one of my favorite bands was from the era that I grew up in. And one of my favorite bands that I grew up in listening to when I got into that kind of rock thing, when I kind of discovered that, there was more to life than just George Strait, which I like. I like George Strait. But, when I discovered there was something more than just steel guitars and stuff. Anyway, there were a couple of groups that I really liked. One of them was, you remember Four Non Blondes? You remember that group, Four Non Blondes? They had that song, What's Going On? Remember that? I always liked them. I thought they were great. I'm kind of dating myself here, but I'm 34, so I guess I was probably maybe about 8 years old when their music first came out, and I discovered them in the mid-'90s, probably. When I was kind of going through my little rebellious teenage years, about the same time I discovered Black Crowes and Smashing Pumpkins and all that good stuff. Well, man, I'm really telling myself here. But anyway, anyhow, there was a couple of groups out there that I really liked, and Four Non Blondes was one of them. They had that song, Hey, What's Going On? Remember that? Come on, I know you remember that, Morrow. I know you remember that. So anyway, because you're the same age as I am. So anyway, we were also discussing a group. Remember the Indigo Girls? They had that song Closer to Fine. I guess I was probably more, because I still like that kind of folky, kind of, rhythmic, kind of, that whole idea of, the whole Myers, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. The acoustic guitar and stuff. So I really took a liking to the Indigo Girls. Closer to Fine was probably their biggest hit, right? Remember that? Well, anyway, they're lesbian. Okay, did you know this? They're lesbian. They are. Long identified as lesbians, too. And more power to them. I love the Indigo Girls. I think they're great. So here's what we're going to discuss this morning. We're going to get off the topic of the Indigo Girls and Smashing Pumpkins and, Four Non Blondes, who I like. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no. So, anyhow, I really like them. So, anyway, I want to talk. Yesterday was a really, 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 really bad day for Texas politics. Horrible day for Texas politics, okay? And I'm going to tell you why it was such a bad day for Texas politics. All right? It was just an all-around horrible day. If you were a Texan and you follow these clowns that we have in Austin that represent you and me, I guess, yesterday was a bad day for Texas politics. And it started from the governor on down. I mean, look, yesterday, Greg Abbott had a bad day when he decided to put a cop as head of head up this department that's supposed to protect our children and take care of our children and, help the foster kids and all this and that, assist them, family and protective services that's supposed to be there to help people. Well, he puts a cop. I mean, he puts a law enforcement officer, the guy who used to head up the Texas Rangers, as the head of that. Okay, I'm not feeling it. So anyway, he's getting some backlash about that, okay? Ross Ramsey, Texas Trib, really kind of busted his cojones on that in their analysis of the, as they call it, a tough day for the class of 2014 in Texas politics. Couldn't agree more. Okay? So then, after bypass that, state's top lawyer, Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, was charged by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission with steering investors to a company that was founded by a friend of his in Collin County. He was steering these investors into buying stock. Well, he was indicted last year on state securities charges. Those charges are still kind of in limbo. Well, yesterday, the feds got it. You're thinking, okay, well, what did he do? I'll tell you what he did. He did what a crook does. He goes out there and he doesn't tell these investors that he is representing this company and making money for it. He's just going out there, I'm a good old boy, hey, let me tell you about this stock I got. Mind you, he's not from Texas. He's from North Dakota. Okay? So they're not saying there's anything wrong with North Dakota, it's just he's not a Texan. Okay? So he goes to the Dairy Queen and meets up with his partner and, whole nine. I'm not making this up, I swear. I swear I'm not making this up. He goes to the Dairy Queen and meets with this, whatever his name is, and they have this long discussion about money and all this and that. Just kind of a sketchy deal. I mean, but I understand, that's how we do business in Texas at the Dairy Queen. I got it. I've been born and raised here. I lived in this state 34 years. Okay? A couple of times I went off to California and Utah and Kansas, and I always come back to this crooked-ass state. But you have these characters like Kim Paxton, who's now facing state and federal charges, and he's going to get up there. I kind of hope he goes to prison. I kind of hope he goes to state prison, to be honest with you. I really do. So that way he can get a taste of kind of what it's like, in Texas Department of Criminal Justice and their, rural economic development plan, which includes putting more people to work in rural communities in the prison system. Thanks, Ann Richards. I appreciate that. I hope the guy gets nailed. I do. I hope he gets nailed. The guy is this is a Baylor guy. I'm not kidding. This is a Baylor guy. I mean, what a fool. The guy is a fool. I mean, obviously he's pretty smart because, he knew the loopholes and he knew the law, and you've got GOP pundits that are sitting there saying, oh, well, it's just another ploy to get back at the GOP, just trying to get to Republicans. No, it's not. You're trying to get him because he's a crook. I'm sure if you just open your eyes, Greg Abbott's not much better. I mean, be honest. I mean, I'm sure Greg Abbott, who stood behind some of the most crookedest laws in this state, who's now our governor, because you people voted for him. Don't blame me for it. I didn't vote for his dumb ass. I mean, let's just be honest here. I mean, we've got a bunch of crooks. Okay? Then, hold up. I'm not through yet. No, heck no. I'm nowhere near through yet. Sid Miller, who is the ag commissioner here in Texas, head of the Texas Department of Agriculture, well, Sid Miller's just, I don't know, Erath County, Stephenville. I love y'all, but where did you find this guy? Okay? Sid Miller has this problem where he just, has the taxpayers fronting money for his trips, and he takes them, to go out there and thank donors and rope in the rodeo, National Dixie Finals rodeo, go out there and make Texas look real good, to them folks over in Mississippi, I'm just going to use a little bit of them tax dollars to go over. I'm going to use a little bit of them tax dollars to go over to that National Dixie Rodeo, and I'm going to go rope a little bit and show them how we do it over here in Texas. And what we're going to do is, when we get back, if anybody starts asking any questions, we're going to just tell them we come over here and visit them donors. Promote the state of Texas. And then if anybody starts asking any more questions, we just give the money back. But if nobody starts asking no questions, we just we got a free trip out the deal. I mean, that's what this idiot does. All right, boys, my back's hurting me. My back's hurting me real bad. I got to go up there to Oklahoma to get me one of them Jesus shots. I got to go up there to Oklahoma City to get me one of them Jesus shots. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to have y'all give me some money, and I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to say I'm going to visit with some Oklahoma politicians and tell them how good Texas is. And we're going to promote Texas. And while I'm up there, I'm going to go get me one of them Jesus shots, so my back ain't hurting no more. So I ain't got to use that Bengay on my back. That's what I'm going to do. Now, if anybody starts asking any questions about that, we went up there to Oklahoma to promote Texas and show them how great Texas is. And if anybody starts asking you money, we'll just pay them. Asking any questions about money and what we did up there, well, what I'll do is I'll just pay it back. That's what he did. I'm not kidding. Am I lying? That's exactly what happened. So anyway, yesterday, Sid Miller, Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller, I'm from Erath County, Stephenville. Okay? His communications director left. She quit after the agency put out these really contradicting stories about whether taxpayers paid for the Commissioner Sid Miller's calf roping trip to Mississippi. Okay? Let's kind of get into this one at a time here, okay? First off, okay, I'm going to drop Sid Miller for a little bit. I think I've talked enough about Sid Miller. Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller from Texas. I think I already talked about Sid Miller from Texas enough already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Greg Abbott. There's been problems, big problems with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services since a long time ago. Long time ago. I'll give Greg Abbott this. He's been trying to fix it for a really long time. He hasn't worked. But on Monday, the governor announced that he was going to put a former Texas Ranger, a well-known figure in law enforcement, at the top of this group, this department, the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Okay? He announced that he was going to put Hank Whitman, Ranger Hank Whitman, at the top. And he was also going to name Christine Blackstone, who is a very, very well-known caseworker, and she has experience dealing with issues. He was going to appoint these two people to the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, which a federal judge said that department is inhumane, and a federal judge appointed special leaders to oversee the state's operation on the court's behalf because the court, federal court just said, "Oh my God, what are you people doing here?" So now, Governor Greg Abbott, I'm going to point me one of them Texas Rangers to the Texas Department of Health, Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, and we're going to straighten them youngins out. Let me tell you something. It's not the youngins. It's who's raising them youngins. That's the problem. And now you're going to put a cop. I'm going to tell you how this is, Grego. I'll tell you, you're going to put a cop at the head of it? What's he going to do? Boy, you step out of line, I'll put your ass in jail. Got to make some more money out there in them rural communities. Put your ass in jail. You talk back to me, I'll put your ass in jail. That's what he's going to do. I mean, this ain't going to change. I mean, what the hell is he thinking? Greg, come on, man. You put a cop. So, you're thinking that by instilling this idea of fear me, I'm a cop, is going to help? Come on, man. Quit sitting on your hands, man. I mean, God almighty, man. I mean, you just don't get it? I mean, it seems like you would want to appoint somebody who maybe understands children, understands how the system works, understands the whole idea that these kids already have their back up against the wall, understands that they need somebody to love them, not discipline them all the time. Give me a break. Greg Abbott, another example of why Greg Abbott should not be governor of this state. Now, I get it. The governor is looking for this kind of full kind of redoing of the leadership of this failing agency. And I'll tell you, putting Hank Whitman, former Texas Ranger, is not going to fix it. You remember when he had this issue with Liliana Wright up in Grand Prairie, right after, CPS had been warned that she was in danger? And there was also another killing of this girl by this foster care runaway, Mikhail Khalil Kreiner, I mean, okay, having a cop build prisons and jails for foster kids is not going to stop that. What's going to stop that is having somebody there that says, look, you know what, guy, look, I know your back's up against the wall, dude. I mean, I get it, man. I mean, your folks left you, your folks a crackhead, whatever, I get it. Look, man, let me help you out. Let me show you. Let me try to fix this. Let me, come on, man, let's talk about this. What can we do? There's no substitute for a parent. There's no substitute for a good role model. There's no substitute for somebody sitting there saying, hey, look, you know what? I'm sorry. Your back's up against the wall. I want to help you. Now you appoint a Texas Ranger. Now look here, son. You step out of line, I'll put your ass in jail, boy. That's how we do it here in Texas. I'll put your ass in jail in Texas. That's how we do it in this state. I mean, so now we're going to criminalize being a fostered youth, being a troubled youth. Well, that's how we do it in Texas, Matt. Show them kids who's boss. Respect them elders. Well, how are they going to know to respect them elders if all you're going to do is, I'll take the belt off and beat his little ass? That'll do it. That'll do it. That'll do it. Let me tell you. So, that's part of it. Okay? Then Ken Paxton. His troubles are all out. They're all over the map. Okay? I like what the Texas Tribune called it. Dogpiling. I don't care what you want to call it. Ken Paxton's problems have become a huge distraction for him. And as a statewide elected office, he's serving in his first year in office. Okay? How this guy got elected with all this baggage is beyond me. Did you people not know this? We've been telling you about this for years. Ever since he started running, that Ken Paxton was a crook. I mean, even back to his days being a state legislature. He's been accused of trying to manipulate everything he's ever been in. So, I love what I'm going back to the Texas Trib because I like the Texas Trib. And I love what they called it, Yosemite Sid. Ross Ramsey said, finally, we come to the continuing adventures of Yosemite Sid. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yosemite Sid Miller, Texas Agriculture Commissioner. I love it. Anyway, this guy has been up to his no-good dirty tricks for, 16, 17 months? And he's probably got more attention for that agency than they've had in probably 20 years or better. And I'm going to tell you it's not good. I mean, this guy has raised all kinds of fees. I mean, he's argued with the legislature for a bigger budget. He brought this chaplain on board. He started wanting to put cupcakes in public schools. I mean, I'm all about cupcakes. I'm a fat guy too. But, I mean, maybe we shouldn't be, I mean, I get it. He's not wanting to mandate it. I get it. But, he did away with this whole no sodas and no cupcakes and no french fries. I mean, he's wanting to go back to the old way of doing things. But let's just face it. He's made news with a trip to Oklahoma for this thing that he calls a Jesus shot. That's kind of like this really strong painkiller, I guess. And, originally, Sid Miller charged this trip to the state, but then he repaid the money when people started asking questions. Well, that was my intentions the whole time. Sure it was. Then he goes off to Mississippi, using the state's quarter, mind you, to participate in this I don't know, what do they call it, the National Dixie Rodeo, Heart of Dixie, I don't know, whatever it is, in this calf roping competition. He used money for that, and then he repaid the state for the trip out of his own pocket to make it right. What was the question here? Was it ever a personal trip or a business trip? What was it? I mean, Sid Miller is becoming a cesspool of problems for that agency. And if they don't do something, I mean, he's going to be in big problems. I mean, hell, the people in Erath County don't even like him no more. I mean, that's the problem. How he gets elected for statewide elected office is beyond me. Sid Miller, I'd like you to answer my question. Now, what is my question? My question is, are you just trying to get the state to front you money? Is that what you're trying to do? I think so. So it was a bad day in Texas politics. Bad day in Texas politics. Especially if you're a Republican. And I'm a Republican. I mean, I am. I agree with the Republicans on more things than I agree with the Democrats on some things. But, we're in the middle here. Just like on this whole anti-discrimination law in Mississippi, North Carolina, or whatever. Okay, look. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be straightforward with you. When you were born, a doctor has enough sense to look at you and say, oh, he's a man. That's a boy. That's a fine, healthy young man right there. That's a big old boy. Or he got to say, that's the cutest little girl. You're the proud parents of a beautiful baby girl. And he stamps it on that birth certificate that it's a boy or a girl. Okay? You follow me? Now, I don't care. We can have this argument. Listen to me, and listen to me closely. I do not care whether or not you were gay or lesbian. I don't care. I do not believe that you're born that way. I believe that maybe you can have an attraction to another dude. If you do, hey, that's all on you, buddy. Just don't look at me. I mean, I know I'm handsome and beautiful and I'm very attractive, but don't look at me. Okay? Now, with that said, if you are gay, if you are happily gay or lesbian or whatever, and you say, you know what, look, this guy, it doesn't sit well with me, but it's not for me. It's not for me. No, I'm not going to try it. Are you stupid? My producer just tells me, try it. No, are you stupid? So, anyway, look, here's the deal. If you find somebody that you're attracted to and you have a lot of interest together and say you love each other, I am absolutely 100% cool with that. Well, Matt, it says in the New Testament all throughout the good book that no man should marry another man. Ain't no way no feller should marry another feller. Okay, stop. I am absolutely 100% okay with you getting married. I'm 100% for it. However, I don't believe for 1 minute that you ought to be given the right to go into a woman's bathroom, or a woman ought to be able to come into a man's bathroom. Simple as that. You're not as bad as you may want to be. You are not a woman, or you are not a man. You are still whatever nature's laws made you out to be. You are still a man or a woman. I don't care how many pills you take, or if you go and have your little pee-pee tucked inside, or whatever you do, and you become a woman, you're still not a woman. You're still a dude. Okay? So, guess what? You get the same rights as anybody else. You get the same thing. You're still a dude. I don't care. Kind of like Aerosmith. Bad dude, look like a lady. You know, I mean, we already live in that world. Okay? But the truth of the matter is here, you are still a man or a woman. Now, I'm an outdoorsman. I love being outside. I'd rather be outside than be inside most days. Okay? Now, if I go out there and I tie horns on my head and I say, man, I want to be a deer. I want to be a big old buck and I want to rule the damn roost, and I start walking on 4 legs and I tie antlers to my head and I walk out the front door and I never intend to go back inside again. Am I a deer? No. I'm still a human being. I'm not a deer. No matter how hard I try, I could pour brown paint all over me. I could tie antlers to my head. I could paint my chest with white paint, walk on all 4s, go out there and eat grass and, poop in the woods. Guess what? I'm still not a deer. I'm still a person. No, because the laws of nature made me a human being. God made me a human being. I believe God made me a human being. If you don't believe in God, then the laws of nature, whatever those laws of nature are, made you a human being. And they made you a man or a woman. Now, excuse me, if you come out and at some point you decide, man, you know what? I'm just not attracted to women. I'm just not. I think I'm a homosexual. I think I'm gay. Cool. I am fine with you. Own that. Own it. Okay? You are a gay man. You are a lesbian woman. Own that crap. Be proud to be gay. Alright? I am proud to be straight. Ooh, I love women. I'm proud to be straight. My girlfriend's the most beautiful woman on the face of this earth, man. I love her to death. She's the greatest thing ever. I love Colleen to death. She's the most beautiful woman God ever put on this earth. Alright? But if you are gay and you say, hey, Steve is the most beautiful man God ever put on this earth. God, put this man in this world for me. Nature put this man on this world for me. I'm going to marry Steve-O. Okay. Way cool for you. Get married. Well, now I want to be, transsexual. Okay. If it makes your relationship better and that's what you feel like you need to do, then go do it. I'm not going to legislate Christian morality on you. I'm not going to force it on you, then that makes me like Islam. But now don't come and make me look at you like you're a woman now, because you're not a woman. You're still a man. Just because you went and took some pills and you had a surgery and you did whatever you did and you now want to be a woman. What's his name? Jenner? Bruce Jenner? Okay? No matter how he tries, he's still Bruce. This whole rebranding thing that he's going through, he's still Bruce. Anyway, that's my take. Walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, must be a duck. We'll see you tomorrow.